Welcome to the Fielder and the Fan. I'm the fielder, Adam Rosales.
And I'm the fan, Noah Watkins. Welcome back. We decided to give another crack. We're on to podcast number 2, hopefully of many more. So starting out today, so I want to talk about why I love baseball so much. One of the things that I really enjoy about baseball is you could be someone who is a casual fan. You could be someone who's watches every game of every season for the last 40 years. But every time, it seems like every time you watch baseball, something is happening for the first time. There's someone is breaking a record that hasn't been broken in 10 years, or someone is setting a new record. Good or bad, it could be an epic slump. It could be, it could be so many different things. But something that really draws me to the game. I remember one of the first times that I ever really noticed this is actually I was watching one of Adam's high school games. I think it would have been like your freshman year, Adam. Is that correct?
It would have been my sophomore year, and I just got called up to varsity.
Oh yeah, sophomore year. Adam and I were talking about this beforehand. So Adam's coach, his sophomore coach, what was his name again?
Jerry Romes.
Jerry Romes. I loved this guy. He was like, to me, he was everything you want in a coach or a manager. He gets fiery, and he would always have great one-liners to the umpires. He always would say cheese and crackers, and I thought he was great. I mean, I was there for Adam, but I was also there to hear what he would say and what he would do. And so I remember this one particular game. The umpire had called a runner out for running the inside inside the baseball line to first base, and called the guy out. And he didn't like that. And then later in the game, it happens again, right? And so this was his response. He says to the umpire, really loud so everybody could hear it. He said, "I've been coaching for 30 years, and I have never seen that call called. Never. And today, I seen it called twice." I thought that was the greatest thing ever, and it really is true to the sport of baseball. You could be watching something for 40 years and watch a game and see something that you've never seen before, and something that some people might not like all the stats and the records that are kept in baseball, but for me, that's one of the things that really draws me to baseball. And part of the reason we're talking about this is yesterday it happened again. I was watching the Padres, Adam's team, play the Colorado Rockies, and I was excited to watch this kid Trevor Story that everyone's been talking about. No pun intended, but he's been the big story of the season so far. And he had the previous 3 games, he had hit a home run his first 3 major league games. So he made his major league debut opening day this year, and he hit a home run in his previous 3 games, and this was his 4th game yesterday, and he was the first rookie to ever do it. And then and he actually ended up hitting 2 more home runs yesterday. So with the first home run he hit, he became the first rookie, and then also only I think 5 or 4 other major league players would ever start off a season hitting home runs in back-to-back games 4 times in a row, and then became the first player to ever start a season off with 6 home runs in 4 games. That's incredible, Adam. One of the things that that I'm jealous of you get to see stuff like this all the time. You get to witness this firsthand. Sometimes on the wrong end of things, and sometimes it's on the right end. When your teammates yourself making baseball history. So, tell me your opinion of Trevor Story.
I mean, I'm happy for the guy, obviously. I mean, and it's really neat to see history happen like that. And like you said, I was on the wrong end of it. He's not my teammate, but like I said, I'm happy for him. But plus, we won that game yesterday, so that makes it even better. But to be the 5th guy to ever do that in Major League history, it's quite remarkable. And as a rookie, even more. I
Hey,
mean,
Adam, read the list of guys who've done it previously.
right. So, I mean, the first two guys I've played with actually that I'm going to mention is Chris Davis. He did that in Baltimore in 2013, and then Nelson Cruz. I was teammates with him for a little bit, and he did that in Texas in 2011. And now Mark McGuire, he's our bench coach in San Diego. He did that. He hit 4 home runs in his first 4 games in St. Louis in 1998. And then Willie Mays. I guess Willie Mays was the first one ever to do it, and he did that in San Francisco in 1971. So to be in that company, I mean, a lot of people haven't heard of Trevor Story, right? And to be in the company of these 5 great ball players, it was really neat to see, especially me, to get the front row seat to that.
Pretty remarkable. It's pretty remarkable for a young guy like that, making the major league debut. Last year, you got to see Joey Gallo make his major league debut, and it wasn't quite to that extreme, but he had a hot first week. I think he hit 3 or 4 home runs, and I mean that was pretty impressive. You remember that last year?
I do remember that. And Joey, he's kind of like a freak of nature kind of ball player. Just built that. Some guys are just born to hit. Some guys are just born to play baseball. And then there's guys like me that have to work really hard to grind it out. But to see a guy like that, and to see, he's a solid teammate, young guy. I think his family was there to see him do it too. So it was to start your career off like that is awesome.
So one of the things I want to talk about, Adam, and Trevor Story and Joey Gallo, we talked about those two. I feel like the last 3 or 4 years, there's been an influx of superstar caliber players all coming into the league in a short amount of time. You've got, it kind of all started with Trout and Harper. I mean, those kind of guys. Since then, it seems like every year, we got Chris Bryant and Schwarber, who unfortunately is out for the year now. But tell me your thoughts on kind of that group of young players that are and how that what that does for the game of baseball to have that many great young players.
Yeah, it's exciting to see the new generation come up, and I would like to credit it probably to like how they're approaching baseball at the younger level now, how serious baseball is now, and what you have to do, the work that you have to put into, and not just how many hours you put into working or playing baseball. It's what you're learning and how you're learning and who you're surrounding yourself with at such a young age. And I would like to credit that to coaching. These guys that have come up, either their parents that have helped these young players, or the coaches that have influenced them. That's the only. Go ahead, Noah.
I was say that's a really good point, and actually 3 of those players that we mentioned, Bryant, Gallo, and Harper. Those guys grew up in the same area and actually played in a lot of different travel teams together over the years.
Right.
So obviously those guys were playing in the right type of leagues. We're playing with. Think of the ability to say, oh yeah, there's 3 guys from my travel team that are now major leaguers. How many guys that you played with in your travel league baseball made it to the pros?
Oh man, to play, there's not one that has made it to the major leagues.
Victor Diaz, didn't he make it?
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, Victor Diaz. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, for sure. There's been other guys in our area that have made it that have played in the major leagues, but not like that though. Not like those guys at that caliber,
Well, yeah, through the young hitters in baseball, that's kind of a unique situation. Well, Adam, so let's talk today about some of the moments in baseball history that you've been a part of. Let's start off kind of the ones that you've been on the right end of, either yourself or your team, with your teammates. So, so let's get right into one one of my favorites, and probably yours, we've talked about before, what happened in Oakland.
Yeah, you're probably referred to the Dallas Braden's perfect game in 2010, correct?
I am the 19th perfect game in baseball history.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And obviously, when you're in the game, you're not really thinking about that. Never in my life would I ever expected to be playing in a perfect game.
So you started second base in that game, correct?
Yeah, yep, second base, and I got one play that whole game, and it was like in the third inning, I think, and it was a pretty tough play. I had to come in. It was a slow roller. Had to come in and throw it quick. I think it was a pretty fast runner, so I had to get rid of it really quick. But if that play happened in the 8th inning or 9th inning, could you imagine my nerves? I would like to think that I would made that play still.
Well, I remember you telling me afterwards that you kind of, as it started getting further down, 7th, 8th inning, you kept on thinking, okay, don't hit to me. Don't hit it to me.
No, that was probably a joke because I knew I had to have Dallas's back.
And you would have.
My glove, my hand was sweating profusely. I was super nervous, but then again, I wanted the play to make for Dallas. But yeah, it was definitely probably the most nervous I've ever felt in a baseball game. But unbelievable experience, and it was on Mother's Day. May 9th, Mother's Day. So that was really special for him.
So talk to us about what goes on, when you guys are up to bat and you're in the dugout. So is anybody talking to Dallas? Are you guys anyone say anything? Tell us about that experience.
Well, at the beginning of the game, you don't know it's going to be a perfect game, so you just kind of take it routinely like you usually do. Just kind of leave the pitcher alone. Some pitchers like to talk, but Dallas was kind of reserved when he was pitching. So I was actually sitting next to him. I would always sit next to him because the bench in Oakland's pretty small. So I would always sit next to him, and I started noticing it. Like in the 5th inning, I'm like, I have to keep sitting next to him. Whether he liked it or not, I was going to do it. So
that's a great point, Adam. There's lots of little unwritten rules about when things are going on. Obviously, no one talks about it. Even in the stands, people aren't talking about it. So my 2 cents is I was watching the game at home, and I remember the thing was pretty cool, but I was also kind of bummed because I actually had talked about, I can't remember, because I was going to come out and see you, I think, a couple weeks later. And so I kept on thinking.
Well, your sister.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. So whatever it was, I could have possibly been at the game because I came out a couple weeks later, but my sister and brother-in-law were out that weekend. And from their perspective, they're sitting and they're like great seats. You'd got them in really great seats. They're actually sitting either right behind or right in front of Dallas Braden's grandmother. For you who might not remember the story, his grandmother was the one who raised him, right? I believe that's correct. Yeah. And it was Mother's Day, and so she was in the stands. And afterwards, she came in. He gave her a big hug. It was kind of this really wonderful moment in baseball history. But my sister and brother-in-law were sitting like right by her, right, in the whole game. And anyway, so they actually they're going to have to hop on the BART, which is the public transportation in the Bay Area, and they were going to have to hop on it to make their plane. So they're planning on leaving like 7th or 8th inning because they're thinking they had kind of planned it out. All right, we've got to leave at a certain time. They figured it'd be about 7th, 8th inning, and so my brother-in-law, who is probably one of the biggest baseball fans I know, besides myself, of course. But he was obviously really into it. And so the 7th inning, 8th inning came around, and it was time for them to leave. And so my sister said, "Okay, let's go." And he was like, "No." She's like, "What do you mean no?" And he's just like, but he wouldn't. My sister just hadn't realized what was happening quite yet. I mean, she knew it was a good game, but she didn't realize it was a perfect game at that point. And my brother-in-law refused to say it out loud. He just was like, "We're not leaving. Look at the scoreboard and just keep on watching the game."
And
like,
Andy, Andy's very punctual, right? Your
Yeah.
brother-in-law is very punctual. He's
Yeah.
always on time. Like there's no missing a flight. Like
So yeah, it was very out of character, and then, so then my sister kind of realized what was happening, and my brother-in-law told me afterwards. He said, if so, they watched the perfect game. They ended up making their flight. Being part of baseball history, just as a fan in the stands, it's huge. And Andy said, I didn't care. If we missed our plane, it would have been well worth it. Even if I had to pay for a new ticket altogether, it was just fine. I was not going to miss out. Like he said, and one of the things he pointed out, which brings me back to my original point, he said his dad, who is also an avid baseball fan, has been to, hundreds and games over the maybe even more than that over a span of many years, and that's something he'd never witnessed, and so something that he'd be able to actually say. There's a very few amount of people who actually say that they witnessed a perfect game, even as a fan, so let alone as a player like you did, Adam. So towards the end, was everybody? I guess as you said, kind of everyone kind of stayed their same routine, just kind of did everything the same that they had done with them. You said you continue to sit next to them, but you guys don't talk, right? You just sit next to them, but you don't say anything.
Right. It was a very quiet buzz in that stadium, from what I remember. You could just kind of like see the potential energy just being created, just waiting for that moment, that last out. Everybody was just so anxious to see that last out, and we were just kind of anticipating, just waiting, and just putting it all on Dallas and making sure that that he got the job done. But it was just a kind of a quiet buzz, just waiting. That anticipation was killer.
So was that your favorite moment that you were part of in baseball?
Yeah, it has to be. That has to be my favorite moment so far. And I've been a part of a lot of great moments and seen a lot of great history in baseball, but it was too significant not to appreciate it, being Mother's Day and understanding the relationship that Dallas had with his grandmother.
And so one of the traditions too is that the player who has the perfect game typically gives a gift to all those involved, right?
Yeah.
So what was the gift that Dallas Braden gave you as being part of his perfect game?
He actually gave us a whole, I don't even know what it is, a pint of Crown Royal in a personalized bag. so obviously Crown Royal is an alcoholic beverage, and that's something I don't participate in alcohol, so we have that still. I still have that at home. It's still
but doesn't it say like the Dallas Braden perfect game on the bottle or on
it does, yeah. It's all personalized to me. Played second base, but it's
that's awesome. Regardless, I don't drink either. But that's something that you could pass, pass down generation to generation, and hopefully none of your great grandchildren or children get rebellious and decide to drink that one day. But that's pretty awesome. How many of those, for all your players, how many of those do you think still have the full amount of alcohol in them?
I'm gonna say they're all full still. I'm gonna say everybody kept them.
You think they all kept them?
Yeah.
Not just the bottle. All right.
Yeah, he actually got a vacation for Landon Powell, the catcher that caught his perfect game. He got Landon and his wife and family a vacation to Hawaii for about a week. He just paid for his vacation just to say thank you for catching my perfect game. So that was pretty cool to hear.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I was listening the other day, Mike and Mike, and he's now a baseball analyst. Dallas Braden is.
Yeah. I saw him last year.
And so I guess it was maybe last year, but it was kind of neat to listen to hear him. He had that perfect game, and then unfortunately he got plagued with injury after that. So,
yeah.
But still, to be able to be, how many are there now? 24, 25 perfect games there's been?
Ooh, I think there's only 23.
23, because I feel like there's been 4. I know there's been 4 or 5 since Dallas Braden's. So, well, that's awesome. All right. So, what other things have you been involved in, Adam?
Nothing to that impact or that big of a history moment, but I got to be a part of a triple play in the major leagues, and I think there's only been like 15 unassisted triple plays. But I was actually
yours wasn't unassisted though.
No, it wasn't, and I was yeah.
Yeah, I think there's only like every season there's like there's always a 2 or 3 triple plays for the season, but it's not very often. And I believe at the time it was Oakland. It was the first one that Oakland had done in their own stadium, the Coliseum. And I may be wrong on that, but that was what I remember.
I think it happened the last time that Oakland had a triple play was at the Coliseum was like in 1983. I think I remember that.
What it was? Okay.
Because I was born that year, and that's why.
Oh, okay.
It's significant.
I knew it had been something significant. So talk us through that. So talk us through the triple play. What position were you playing? Where were you at? Where was the ball hit? Talk us through that triple play.
So I was playing second base, and we were playing the Minnesota Twins, and the ball was hit to third base to Josh Donaldson, and JD stepped on third base. He gunned it to me at second base, and I gunned it. I think Brandon Moss was at first, or Derek Barton. I should remember that, but
I think it was. I want to say it was Moss.
Yeah, but yeah, I think there's a pretty quick runner running down the first base line. I think it was Trevor Plouffe. Actually, I could be. We should get our facts straight, but I think
one of these days.
But one of these days, yeah. But JD to me to Mossy, and then just happened really quick, and I know our pitcher was really excited about that triple play because it was obviously first and second, nobody out. As a pitcher, kind of, oh man, this is gonna be, I got to bear down right here, and then a simple ground ball gets you out of that inning.
Have you ever seen one in any level before that, or been part of one in any level before that?
I think I saw an unassisted triple play in Triple A.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
But it was like a line drive to second base. He tagged the guy that was running from first to second, and then he threw the ball to second base.
Well, I was playing tap baseball yesterday, and I hit into a triple play, and I was pretty pissed off. I'm not gonna lie. It really put a damper on. I had bases loaded, no outs, and I hit into a triple play. I was pretty upset about it.
Yeah, that'll just ruin your whole day, really quick.
I know, man. That game is very addictive. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Oh man.
So well, awesome. So what else? What other moments have you been a part of, Adam?
Well, I haven't really, not that I can think of like significant moments in history like that, but
I can think of one.
I've seen my teammates.
Well, before we get there, let's talk about one. You might not think of this as a significant point in history, but I think that when people look back, they will. And and now you have to remind me what year it was. It was I believe it was your last year in Oakland before you got traded. What year was that?
2013 when I was going back and forth.
Yeah, 2014. So
13.
13. Yeah. So you guys are playing the Cleveland Indians, and it was the 8th or 9th inning?
It was the 9th inning.
It was a ninth inning. You guys are down. You guys are down by 1 run.
Yep.
And you come up to the bat, and you connect with the ball, and it goes and it hits right at the top of the wall. And it's one of those things where you can't tell if it's a home run or if it's a double. And the ruling on the field was a double. Your manager came out and said, hey, we got to review this. I mean, because at that point in baseball, they could review certain plays. I believe I believe home runs were one of them, and there was only a couple things you could actually that were even reviewable, and there wasn't any really set rules on it. It was the umpires if the umpires could do it. It was there wasn't clear rules on instant replay at that point, right. And so anyways, the umpires they reviewed it, and they reviewed it on a little screen. We don't know if they. So, anyways, those of us who were watching from home, who were watching on TV, they were able to get a clear shot a view that there was a home run. It hit off the top railing, and it was a home run. And so everybody thought that they were going to be able to look at this. They were going to see the same instant replay that we'd seen at home, and it was going to be an easy overturn. And turns out it was not. And your coach was very upset about it. But not only that so you guys ended up losing the game. You've been able to.
Yeah, that would have tied the game up.
It would have tied the game up.
And possibly would have won.
And that year, that division, or the wild card went down to between like one game. So it was a very significant game. Anyways, so what was the reaction of people after that game, Adam?
Oh my gosh! Before it even happened, like my teammates were in the dugout. They're like, "It's a homer for sure." They're giving me the signal. Their signal for a home run is you point your index finger up to the sky and you wave it around in a circle. And all my teammates are like, "It's a home run for sure." And I'm at second base. I couldn't tell, so I'm like, I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, that was such a significant part of the game. Obviously, I'm facing the closer, Chris Perez, who's solid closer, and that would have tied the game up. But obviously they made the wrong call. And Bob Melvin, when they made the wrong call, Bob Melvin, our manager at Oakland, came out, and I've never seen him so upset in my life. He was just fuming because it was the wrong call.
You could YouTube this, and it is a great reaction by him.
Yeah. The umpire just made the wrong call, and everybody knew it. I got so many text messages that night, so many messages saying, "Oh my gosh, they took a home run away from you." And I always joke around saying, "Yeah, when I hit 499 home runs for my career, I'm gonna blame that umpire on that. I should have had 500 home runs."
Well, in all seriousness, it became a big deal. Like it was, people were making a big deal about it in the media, and it was something that, baseball eventually gave kind of an informal apology about it. Said kind of agreed that it was the wrong call, and it was and there was a couple other big epic fails that year in baseball. There was one, I believe, actually in the playoffs. And so, but that moment was really what really started to amp up the debate about instant replay, and that if it needed to have a better and bigger impact in the game. And as a result of it, that off season, they redid instant replay, and to what we have it now. So
now they have a station in New York where umpires have to oversee that game, so there's four umpires in a room watching every game that's going on in the major leagues, and they get a call in and say, "We need you to review this play to oversee it for the checks and balance kind of system." And go ahead.
I was gonna say, so Adam, so really, whether the history books will remember or not, you really had a great impact on the game of baseball. That play was really the crying call for instant replay to be what it is today. So what does that make you think about?
I really don't think about that too much. I don't see that. I don't really take credit for that, because I'm sure it would have developed eventually. But to be part of that, I wish I would have been on the other end of it, to tell you the truth. But to be to be a part of that history, I guess, in baseball, and to know that it could have affected the way that instant replay is done now, and how it's going to be in 5-10 years, how instant replay will be in 5 or 10 years. It's kind of neat. So whenever I tell my teammates, I was that guy that they took the home run away from, and they're all like, "Oh my gosh, I remember that. That's such a bad call."
Yeah, it's funny. It was when I talk to people, and I'm telling my cousin's a Major League Baseball player, and I mentioned that, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's usually the moment where people recognize who you are. They remember that. Everybody remembers that particular play. Every big baseball fan remembers that specific play because it was a real big issue that year. So
yeah. You know who you know who wasn't too sad about it?
Your wife?
You got it. No, I'm just kidding.
His wife is the biggest Cleveland Indian fan that I think anybody knows. So, so yeah,
That's growing up for sure.
yeah. She actually, I remember her, saying that it was a good game for her because you had a good game. You hit well, but her team won. So that was like the perfect for her. So
I really hope she was kidding though. No,
I don't think she was, Adam. I do not think she was.
I know.
Well, all right, so Adam, let's we've talked about some of the big ones that you've been a part of on kind of on the winning side. What are some things? I guess could be things that you witnessed on your teammates do, or other people on did against your team. I mean, not to bring up an open wound, but this season you guys started off with not getting a hit until yesterday, which was I believe was the longest drought to open up a major league season. So, you're in the clubhouse. I'm sure you're in the dugout, and your guys are in the middle. Every team has losing streaks. Every team has some sort of epic dry spell at some point. What's it like to be in the middle of that? To be in the clubhouse or be in the dugout during a stretch like that.
Oh man, it's so early in the season, and I'm a firm believer in it's not how you start, it's how you finish, kind of thing. And I don't know, Andy Green, our manager, is very positive, and he never really addressed it. We never really thought about it. It's okay. We lost a game, whether we lost 4-3 or 12-11. We didn't get any hits. We didn't get any runs. So what? We lost. That's the thing that was most devastating. We lost 3 games in a row. But then we turn it around and come to Colorado, who just beat Arizona 2 out of 3 games, and we turn it around. And that's the kind of team that we are. And we don't really address that. We really don't. We don't let ourselves go down to a negative like that. I mean, yeah, it's not the greatest stat to be a part of, but so what? It's only 3 games. But.
Would there have been a point, or maybe later down as one of the veteran guys on the team, where you would have, said something or said like, "Hey guys, let's keep our heads up," or and I guess I know it was early, so you guys didn't have to do that, but do you see yourself kind of being in that role as being one of the veterans, as one of the guys to kind of?
Yeah, I would definitely just try to keep guys' spirits up. That's all I always try to do. I mean, I don't play every day. I come off the bench a lot, but I always, I talked to Will Myers a lot about, hitting. And yesterday he was talking about putting his glove in the right spot, like as a superstitious kind of thing. I'm going to put my glove at the right spot. I got to find the right spot to put it at in every stadium that we play at. And we just kind of have fun with it. We're going to start hitting, and we'll start. We know we're Major League Baseball players, but I like to kind of keep guys' spirits up, and I feel like that's the intangible that I bring to a Major League Baseball club. It's just, you're young, don't worry about it. Like Jabari Blash yesterday talking about his pinch hitting. He's a little bit. You have to be aggressive as a pinch hitter, but not too aggressive. And that's what I just talked to him about, saying, "Hey, you're gonna get this. I understand how tough it is to pinch hit, but." I kind of just do that as a veteran ball player. I kind of just really instill confidence in my teammates the best that I can.
That's awesome. Okay, Adam. So, what are some other moments in baseball history that you have witnessed?
So, for my teammates, staying with my the topic of my teammates, hitting for the cycle. I've seen in Texas. I saw 3 guys do it. So in 2013, I saw Alex Rios do it. He got the toughest hit on the last one. Him and Shin-Soo Choo got the toughest hits. That's a triple, I would say, on a cycle, is trying to get that triple. But so I saw Alex Rios do it 2013, and then last year I saw Shin-Soo Choo do it in Colorado. Actually, that's where I'm at right now. He did that in July, I believe.
I remember that.
And then that was so I think Alex Rios was like the 7th guy in Texas Rangers history to do it. And then the next year, Shin-Soo Choo does it. So he's the 8th guy. And then in that same year, a month later, Adrian Beltre does it.
That's awesome.
To be a part, to see that and just be so happy for those guys. It's, I mean, there's only nine times that's happened in Rangers history, and I saw it happen twice.
Didn't you see? Did you see Beltre also hit a home run milestone?
Yeah, I did. It was his
and Fielder too, right?
Yeah, both of them. I mean, that's just unbelievable to be a part of that. Like, just to be around these guys, future Hall of Famers. Just to be, it's just cool, man. And to learn, I've learned so much from these guys, and I'm gonna learn so much more from all the other guys that I'll be around. But
all right, so Adam, who's of the superstar guys that you've played with, who's the one that I don't know, impressed you the most, or you just enjoy being around the most? Who's the one guy that when I say superstar, you think, all right, let's talk about this guy?
The one that I played with?
Yeah, that you played with. It's one
on my team
of your teammates that you've had. That you've played with some real superstar guys over the years.
That's an easy answer for me, and that's Adrian Beltre. Just the way on and off the field, the way he goes about his business. On the field, I have so much respect for him, and the way he shows up every single day, whether he's got a bad hamstring or coming off of surgery. The guy is the toughest ball player that I've ever played with. I mean, it makes me feel like a wimp. I'm like, oh my gosh, my legs are kind of sore.
Well, you are kind of a wimp,
like,
Adam.
This guy's the real deal. He dislocated his thumb last year. Compound, it came out of his skin.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
And the doctors told him, 8 to 10 weeks at least. Adrian was back in 4 weeks, and he had this huge pad on his thumb. And whenever he swung, he would let go of the bat, right? He would swing and he would drop the bat because it hurt so bad, but he was out there. And just, I don't know, man, just the way he goes about his business and the things I've learned. He doesn't talk too much. Like, he won't say something until he really needs to address something. But my goodness, he just unbelievable. Just I don't know, just solid ball player on and off the field. So
who's the guy who you feel the same way about, who's someone who we may not, we might not think of as necessarily as a superstar, but a guy that who's been a teammate of yours over the years, who you're just really impressed with, or someone that might be under the radar as far as we're concerned, someone that really had an impact on you as a teammate and as a Major League Baseball player?
I mean, there's been a lot of those guys for sure, but the one that really stands out is Johnny Gomes as one of my top favorite teammate of all time. Really, because he really cares. Off the field, he really cares to get to know you, right? It's like he knew me before he even was on my team. And just the energy, the excitement that he brings to the game, he's going to give 100%. I talked about pinch hitting with Jabari Blash, Whenever Johnny Gomes got out there to pinch hit, it's like something good was going to happen. He was going to make something happen, and that pitcher was not going to like facing him. And it kind of like a bulldog mentality. I know it's kind of cliche to say bulldog, but this guy really is just kind of, I'm out to get you, and I'm going to get you kind of mentality. And just to see that as a teammate, to see that influence rub off on me, like that's just, and all our other teammates is just really impactful. But.
Awesome. All right, so Adam, let's talk about some of those experiences that you've been on the wrong side of. What are some other things that you have, like we talked about the Trevor Story. What are some other significant moments in baseball history that you've gotten to witness from the dugout?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say on the wrong side of. I mean, I'm just glad that I was there. I was actually there in person to see it happen. And just going to talk about Derek Jeter. I was when he came to Texas and they gave him his farewell. Pudge Rodriguez gave him like brand new cowboy boots and all this fun stuff, all these little fun gifts. But In that series, he ended up breaking Lou Gehrig's doubles record for the New York Yankees. And just to visualize that, we always think about Lou Gehrig. He's my favorite baseball story, right? Obviously, I've never seen him play, but just to know his what he brought to the game of baseball, and to see a guy in our generation, Derek Jeter, break his doubles record, which just kind of brought it to life for me. And then the next day, I think it was the next day, Derek Jeter broke Carl Yastrzemski's all-time hit record, and that was also very special to see as well. I remember pinch running that series and running out to second base, and Derek Jeter was out there. And I've had a couple conversations with Derek Jeter. Just he was raised in Kalamazoo, and that's where I went to school at Western Michigan. So we have that in common. We talk about Fred Decker, my coach at Western Michigan, because Derek Jeter knew him. So we had I kind of knew him, but I ran out to second base, and he just kind of nodded at me, just gave me a nice little head nod, a little smile. And it was kind of I took it kind of personally on a good level. I'm like, that's kind of like his salute, like his goodbye, that I'll ever see. I'll ever be on the same field with Derek Jeter ever again. And it was just, for me, I always remember it. I'm sure Derek Jeter doesn't look at it like that, but I will forever,
So I remember you telling me a story about, I think it might have been one of the first times you ever played against Derek Jeter. I think it might have been in spring training. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Well, you could, I think so, but go ahead.
So, well, I mean, I think, and maybe it wasn't in spring training. Maybe it was actually when you were, maybe it was a major league game. But I remember you got a ball hit to you. You're playing shortstop. And Derek Jeter is the batter, and you hit, and he hit the ball sharply, and you get the ball, and you do what's kind of known as the Derek Jeter play, the jump and turn,
Yeah.
and you throw Derek Jeter out.
Yeah,
and you anyways, tell us about that.
That's funny you remember that, man. Yeah, I was actually playing second base. So,
were you? Okay.
But it was still the Derek Jeter play. I'd like to call it. I mean, it's a lot longer throw from shortstop, but I'll still claim it as the Derek Jeter play. But yeah, he had a hard two-hopper up the middle. I was playing second base for the Oakland A's at the Coliseum, and I backhanded it, and I did the jump throw, and I got him out by a step. And I forgot that when he hit it, I wasn't even thinking that Derek Jeter just hit that. But then immediately afterwards, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did the Derek Jeter play on Derek Jeter. Kind of silly, but obviously I was a young ball player at the time, and just
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was funny. But
I think most people, when you say the Derek Jeter, people can visualize what that looks like, because it's such a part of baseball, and such a the way that he played the game. I think most people would say he played the game the right way.
Yeah, no question.
So, so any other moments that you have gotten to witness that you can give us a firsthand account of?
I mean, there's plenty more, but maybe we'll save those for a later session. All
right. Well, Adam, let's as we will always do. Let's get our major league tip from you.
Okay. All right. So last time I gave the young players out there a tip on hitting off a tee, but this time I want to give you a defensive tip and tell you what I really like to focus on as a defender to make sure that my glove works properly is that I always make sure that I keep my wrist flat, my glove wrist flat out in front of me, especially on a backhand, right? So a lot of guys curl their wrist or jab at the ball, but if you keep your wrist flat and almost keep the glove open, I guess the web of the glove, when it's open, keep it face down towards the dirt. It'll keep your wrist flat, and you'll be in a lot better control of fielding a ball, whether it's a routine ball or a tough play. Always keep your wrist flat. So
Well, that's a good advice, Adam. That's obviously it's important to have control, and if you have control, then you're more likely to be able to make the play that you're trying to make. So that's awesome. Not that I know anything about that.
no, you're gonna be a heck of a ball player when we're done doing all these.
That's right, man. Maybe I finally will be able to be the ball player I always wished I was. Well, Adam, always this is a lot of fun, and we hope that those of you who have endured through this enjoy it, and please give us feedback, give us comments, let us know things that we can do to make this better, more interesting, less interesting. No, just kidding. Don't do that. And we will do this again, right, Adam?
Oh, yeah, great. It was fun, Noah. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Peace out. I just said that.